And we are live. Okay, so I'm going to try something new. I'm just going to be. So, in this little adventure, I'm going to take a moment because I prepared myself a long wire and I've hooked it up to my camera and I'm about to do a photo still life videography moment. So I thought, like, you know, why not talk about the deck while preparing to do something cool about the deck? And at the same time too, I thought at the same time, which I mean I'm just saying twice now, while I'm trying to concentrate on getting this right so it gets a good view of what I'm about to do, is that I would like to talk about the deck personally, as the person who created it, so you get an idea of who I am. Because I've spent a lot of time making it look nice, illustrating it, making all the videos, editing it, trying to put it all together and plan it all. And I'm telling you, I'm like a one-man studio who's trying to do so much. And you know what? I love what I do, so I can't complain. But, you know, it is what it is sometimes. But we are about to be here. Let's see if I can zoom in. That's my water, some plants. It's not completely clean yet, but we're about to turn it into something. So let's see here. I'd like it more turned this way. That should do the trick. Okay, let's see without blocking the light. Cool, let's see if I can do this. And if all is well, you should be hearing me. And this should be connected, which if it is, then we are good. But regardless, it's happening, Captain, so. Anyway, let's see here. I'm gonna get some sponges out of the way. Gonna make sure that all this stuff is all clean and clear. Let's get some water because I'm talking. So that all seems to be good in the hood. So let's see here. I should introduce myself. I'm Eric TC. I'm a polymathic artist, I like to call it, because, like, if you ever see my astrology chart, it's just like very polarized, but it's like in a good way. Like Mars opposite Venus, or Gemini rising for a solar sun in Sag kind of ordeal. But this is the way that I like to bring about centering something that merges to become something new. So that's kind of what Astro Herbal is in a nutshell. Because I love to get into herbalism. I love to learn nature. I love that nature can do so many things. It's like better than, like, if people who grew up with like Pokemon and shit, like it's better than Pokemon. So let's see what else. Like the whole concept of astrology now, you're introducing the resonances of what you call the color spectrum of nature. And this color spectrum of nature allows you to understand all forms of cycles that you see in the macro and macrocosmos. In this way, we want to understand ourselves through understanding outside of us, but you can understand outside of us by understanding ourselves internally. Either or, yourself in a body is just how we are in the being of how we perceive our reality. Regardless, I made a hand-illustrated deck with 128 cards, but I cut it down to 126 because I'm doing 3 volumes at 42 cards each. I'm working on another volume, but let's see if we can get this printed first, because this will be my second campaign to actually launch the deck. The first one didn't really get off the ground. I did ask for 2 months because I was like aiming to do for more than 100 decks, but now I'm just doing 100 decks. I'm just happy if I get to print. If I don't do long-term sales of this, it's fine, because I like to move on to the next thing. It's not for profit. I mean, I'm just trying to create some educational tool out there, and if it's out there, who knows, maybe it can come back again. We'll see. So I'm hosting a campaign, but this time around I'm trying to be active. I'm trying to connect with others. I'm trying to show you who I am as the artist, while also utilizing my creativity as a form of art to carry that message forward. So I want to utilize that as my best possible option, so that we can work together. Because I can create the deck, but it's all of you, if you're even like tuning into this, to be able to help bring it to print. Because if I'm able to just like print this myself, I would be like boom, 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 pick your pick. But I want to print in the US. I want to make sure it's done well. I mean, I'm not going artisan in gold printing, but it is an artisan deck still because it's hand illustrated. And at the same time too, it's one of a kind. And because of the limited edition, I like to move on to other things too. So I hope to bring this because eventually if I get to it, I'd like to get that book worked on as well. So that this deck set itself has a whole book collection. And that's going to be its own little thing where you actually are going to learn all the different plants, all the different things associated from that, plus a plethora of astrology information, a plethora of additional herbal, fungal, all sorts of stuff. And a lot of things, the combinations, how to use it, where it's come from, why I use it, etc., etc. I got a whole plan, but I'm going to do everything I can in my power. The next step to bring the print is always going to be about creating a network. And I've been totally off the grid. Social network, just here now. You're not going to find me where I'm at, but I love it. I love nature. It's where I'm going to be. So in this position, I'm not like network heavy. So I'm not going to be on Instagram, Facebook. Many things that people connect on these days are from these social platforms that try to help us connect, but it's like a double-edged sword. I like that people can use it, but I've opted out. And me personally, it kind of is a disadvantage if I want to try to inform people. So I have a mailing list if you want to sign up for that. But even then, like, I get it out, a mailing newsletter, maybe only when I'm like launching a project. So like, it's not like a heavy thing where you get to hear from me. So here I'm at now. And I get to talk about pretty much anything you want about the deck. I can't actually read questions. I can't look at what's going on the screen. I'm talking to you right now, hooked up to wires, hooked up to everything, because I'm not a wireless guy. And we're going to just pretty much watch me set up a photo shoot, because I would like to, I'm in the process of filming a little still life of each of the volumes right now, just to get a sense. I've done the first volume. Today's going to be the second volume, which is actually all about culinary. That's another thing too. I haven't had a chance to actually talk about the different themes or anything like that, so we're going to talk about that while we're setting it up. But today's theme is Volume 2, Culinary. And this theme itself is going to be a carry-off, or let's say you want to treat yourself, but you want to do it through like edibles. This is pretty much that method. Now you can take like supplementate pretty much the first volume, herbs and such like that, under the right conditions and with the right, like, you know, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you in the concept of perception of how to utilize the certain plants in their historical usage. That has been the case, that you could take them, digesting it into your body through means necessary, but the forms from teas to where you're having it through like a capsule, or whether it's a resin or through a tincture, or a number of methods. Either way, it's the method in which it's delivered to you versus the method you can enjoy having it delivered to you as an edible. So that's today. Anyway, that's volume 2. We're gonna work on that today because I'd like to get that out probably for Tuesday. So, I mean, we got the weekend here, and now we're gonna see what I can do, because we, at this moment, have about only a little over 10 days left of the campaign. So if I can do what I can each and every day, I'm going to reach out to more people if I could. I'm going to try to be personal and connect to others. I like to do a question and answers if anyone can. I'm not too like heavily connected to many like herbalists or astrologers. So I'm going to try my best to reach out to people who I respect and have a sense of following over the years, who I've appreciated that they are doing the service that I cannot do because I'm so busy trying to juggle too much. But yes, let me go get my little platform, and I'm going to start putting this little thing together. So give me a second, and I'm going to continue to allow you to understand how the deck was made, what about the deck, etc., about the whole journey, because, you know, you get this opportunity to be here in this moment, and I'm going to dedicate, you know what, how much time do we got today? We got enough time that I can continue going for another 20 minutes about. So 20 minutes, and then this camera itself can only record 30. It's going to cut off. So I'm going to allow that to be the live feed, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to keep that consciously in mind while I'll continue to work. So thank you very much. Give me one moment. Let's go over here yonder. So essentially, this is what I do. You may not even understand that a lot of my photo shoots, or when I do photo shoots, because I'm a photographer, if you haven't noticed. I used to be on Instagram. I love taking photos of nature, videos, whatever. It's the capturing of light, of nature. It's preserving the beauty of what is, that exists in the natural world. Now, normally when I do a setup, this is what you're normally seeing. Something that's like right here the whole time. It's a sink. Can you believe that? It's a sink. Every single one of those videos is a sink for the most part. I'm in a tiny house and there's not much light to choose from in this position. So we're going to work with it. So here we are. Now the thing I'd like to do specifically is more of an angle. So I'm going to take a unique take on this. Now that's the whole point of being a little adaptable, because we want to be able to get enough lighting. But I have a concept of mine of using the angles of how I capture the cards via the plants. So some of the plants are going to be like in and out of depth of field, and others are going to be able to be up close. So as I work with this, let me just get associated here. Okay. Now let's get a couple of these plants here and bring them forward. We're going to customize this setup because I certainly would like to be able to make a very nice display. And I do have an idea of utilizing a larger plant I have over here. So I'm going to bring that over and I'm going to see if I can fit that either inside this little slot, or if I'm going to have it separately over here and then I use it as a depth of field addition, where it will pretty much increase the cinematography of the shot. So let me go do that. Let me bring this over here. So yeah, currently I've been busy all week since I've launched the Kickstarter on the 9th, which was last Friday. And we were able to, oh no, this plant. So we were able to take the last week and reach about 47% so far. I believe I'm at 47% as of doing this right now, or at least the last time I checked. And that's pretty much just under, I want to say, because I'm doing 88,888, half of that is 4,444. So we're just under that essentially. So hopefully that I'm able to connect with a couple more individuals, and we're able to connect with enough people who want to band together and help bring this deck to print. Everyone will get one. So this will be awesome. And I get to see my art come to print, and I'll be able to continue to move on to do essentially a couple other surprises I have to do. We're going to see how things flow, because like I'm kind of rolling with the punches. I was able to adapt making changes from the last one, but I'm going to take my step up now. I'm going to restore some of my outlets by, you know, opening up, being on video, allowing myself to just express myself so that like you get it. I'm here, I'm present. So we're going to essentially get that all going so that you actually have an experience of what it's like as the artist who created the deck, and you get a little, you know, it's like you don't get a t-shirt, but hey, life is all about the experience, is it not? So just like a dream when you wake up at night, returning to the day of the waking light, I suppose you yourself are also in the case to be here. So take it in, allow it to be a part of you, and, you know, go with the flow. We're all here for a reason. So anyway, before I get too philosophical on you, we're going to work on this little setup while I still have, let me confirm, because I'm a talkative kind of guy, Gemini rising here, 13 minutes. That puts us at a 14, that's about 16. So we got 16 minutes before this thing's going to go, and we won't be able to talk anymore. So let me start setting this all up. So let's see. Let's go into the history of the deck. So about 2020, that's about the time around an eclipse during the summer. Now, I was essentially coming off of exploring a couple of different art styles and figuring out how to go about essentially exploring a new deck, which was Lucid Light, for those who followed along on my journey. Now that deck itself has been on and off being completed, but in 2020, I wanted to shift to doing educational decks, and I had like a great idea for a long multi-year collection of essentially they would be released as decks, but they're just artisan decks. So they're a way for me to previously release my art into a form that people can digest and have within their homes. And I've, like I said previously, used to do this through what I would call visual awakenings. These visual awakenings were just essentially my artwork, which is most times pen and ink illustrated on paper, sometimes even large, or in through a short period I was digitally doing it, but it's not the same. So I switched back to pen and ink again. Anyway, so doing that is providing me some form to place my art on. So it's a vehicle. And as long as I'm able to do that, I can provide it. Now there's services like print on demand where I can put this stuff on shirts and you can buy it on the spot and it can be shipped to you. You can do that with books nowadays, but you can't really do it with cards yet. And even then you're probably ordering it overseas. And even then you're gonna wait like a month or two before you get it. So I like to imagine that if we were able to achieve this goal here, I can deliver something that is more artisan, where it can be preserved. And even if it's something special that you appreciate or use every so often for a divinative sense, educational sense, or if you're just trying to utilize an appreciation for something you're familiar with, or if there's ever a chance you need to use it for anything, it can function as all of these tools all in one. Because I'd like to have the versatile, some form of fancy word that allows you to utilize it for multiple ways, because you know what, that's what polymaths tend to do. We tend to take the best of all the worlds and make the best of what you can. So that's us. Anyway, it's not that like polymaths are a special thing. I'm not trying to like totally push that either, because like polymath is just like it's a lot of work. When you do a lot of work and you work really hard at it, sometimes you make it look easy, but at the same time too, you know who you are enough to have that passion. So I love and appreciate polymaths, and there's going to be polymaths that make me look like a baby. So I'm not even concerned about trying to be here in any perceptional way. But for some reason, I felt like expression that. Maybe it's something deep inside me, or something just like clarification of how it came off. Because, you know, when you're live on the spot, sometimes you're fluent, sometimes you go with the flow, but sometimes you trip. You know, not everyone's the greatest dancer, but you got to get your rhythm. So anyway, we're going to come back over here and continue to set this up. So when I fill this up with plants, I then take a little bit of moss, take a little bit of extra decor, just to fill out the background. You don't want to capture anything that's like, doesn't really go with the aesthetic too much. I love nature, and I have my whole house surrounded in nature. It's like my little mini house studio. It's one room and a bed. So like, I'm not having much to work with, but it's not for everyone, but I love it, you know? It allows me to do what I do. So while working on Lucid Light in 2020, now that I just meandered and recalled why we got here, I was able to conceive the idea of what it would be like to create all these decks. And I wanted to do it sometime down the line. And I began working with Bach remedy flowers, because that was something that was new to me, and it was looking at the emotional sense of the body, of how it related, and utilize a formation that actually dates back to a century ago. And I wanted to utilize that kind of concept to build upon in forms and methods to treat individuals. I've explored astrology. I've been down a psychological road in terms of understanding psychology and how it works, and the utilization of understanding personalities and expectations, as well as the consciousness factor, in which we are also the choice in which we create, but we also have a flavor, and through our chart alone are able to understand the way we are expressed through the imprint of light, you know, that little flash photography of the cosmic blueprint we are here to experience through, and always adapting and growing through. Our cells, you know, grow every 7 years, so like we're continuously under the influence of the path we started on. And because of that, the way and the journey in which we are embarking is always down to the nature in which we are ourselves and what we choose to do. Some may aid, some may hurt. It is all comes down to how we choose to honor who we are and how we choose to connect with who we are. The world itself, you know, it's crazy out there. You never know what's going to actually come of things. And at the same time, too, you can only really know yourself and do what you can within your own power. So I try to empower people. I try to educate people. I try to make as independently supportive the individuals in their lives they can be, because you have to understand the full spectrum of why we come to be, you know? Do you want to come here to meet a demand, or do you want to come here to have that life? I believe everyone has their own service, and we have to find a way to be able to do that in a manner that ultimately provides a balance. We want to help, but we also want to be supported. We want to give, but we also want to have enough to continue what we can do. The world is itself going to be a continuous dance. And that's why we're supposed to experience it with one another, because the amount of flavors and combinations that can be done is why universe is curious to experience it all in the very first place. Sorry, we're in a philosophical class right now. I don't mean to lecture you on all of it. It's just the concept that we can ride with the tide and flow with the surf. Then we can end up at who knows in the woo territory of all things bliss. But anyway, we're going to work on trying to set this up continuously. And because I'm just a word wizard, let me see what we got going on here at a 2050. So I'll allow myself 10 more minutes to set things up. I'll try to get things going. Then once I have things set up, that should be a good time to wrap things up. And I'll use this actual camera to record and video it. I think my hair's falling out from behind, but it's not a big ordeal, to be honest with you. I'll pop that out because someone with long hair like myself, sometimes I do have to put it back so it's not in the way. I'm not that big into carrying it, but you know, you want to just be presentable because you don't want to look like, I don't know, Beauty and the Beast up in here. But I mean, I'm a wild thing, so like, it's not like I care. It's just how many fudges can you give in a day? So anyway, we are working on this and we're being real at the same time. So flow with the row. Anyway, let me come over here. I actually got to grab the Astro Herbal collection. So anyway, yes, let's hop back into there because we've got 10 minutes and you're probably tuning into this for the very fact that you are a part of that or curious of the deck that I am trying to crowdfund at the moment. So Astrolight was my astrological oracle deck previously after Shadowlight Tarot. Now, Astro Herbal is an herbalism deck based off hand illustrated works of art that have then been associated to add a customized, through my curation of understanding of astrological resonance of both the geosolar and true star method, able to apply an astrological association of the zodiac, the planetary, as well as elemental class for each, at least the dominant ones of each of the plants that are featured within the collection. And I wanted to serve that as a method to provide an educational deck while providing the art, while also providing an astrological tool where you can use it as like a divinative reference. So if you have to understand a certain resonance or how it can come up, or if you're utilizing the cards through an oracle means, then you're actually utilizing the messages that come through too, which come and stem from the very nature and properties the plant itself is meant to represent. So we are always going to understand that many of these have their own way of doing what they do, and not everyone is unique. And the system itself that I've created is indeed my own through a combination of using a number of methods. But if you ever take some time to look through the deck, you're going to find all sorts of aspects of it, whether it's associated to addressing parasites, to addressing inflammation, addressing for a number of aspects, whether you're looking at various teas from worlds circular. So we got South, we got Asia, we have India, we have Nepal, we have a number of plants that can be found all over. And even then, I'm just naming aspects where you're going to identify with this just regional aspect of flavor, let alone where it starts to reach out beyond. For example, the ginseng. Ginseng can exist in many, many countries under many different names, whether you're looking at the Russian under 𝒌𝒨, or whether you're looking at the Asian ginseng under the red ginseng, or Panax, which is commonly known. And then you're looking at aspects where you got Suma, and there's Maca, and a number of other ones too. So, and then obviously American ginseng too. But I mean, you know the whole flavor of it all. So this is my mock-up deck that I have to work with. It's not the complete one, so I'm still working on that we can print it, but I'm unable to bring it forth in the time span under the cost and the conditions. We're in a tight space right now, so I'm hoping to make sure that I can make the very best of what I can do. So let's see, we're going to work on getting volume 2 here. So I'm going to place these here and place volume 2. Now, many of these plants I was able to work with personally and develop a relationship with because I wanted to understand and learn them for my own personal use, exploration, and understanding so that I can be helpful for myself and others. And when doing that, I wanted to make sure that everybody was able to understand it in a way, because without a book, you're unable to dive into many of the benefits that actually come from the plant. So at the moment, I'm only working on releasing it as an Oracle deck set until I'm able to expand upon a book. But we'll have to see where the journey goes as it continues. Because of the unexpectedness of what could occur, and the fact that we're also dealing with all sorts of stuff, whether you're looking at the economical aspect of things or just life in general, where there's just so much going on and people are overwhelmed or things are popping up out of nowhere. You never know. It's a whole journey out there. So we're here today regardless, and you're taking part to check out this live stream for the next, what would essentially be 4 minutes or 2 minutes of my time, because I'm a quick flow. Like if I watch this, I'd probably be watching at 2 times the speed, because who knows what goes on in the flow of all things knowing. So we're gonna wrap things up, because if I don't do that, then it's gonna just be abruptly, and I don't like to be able to just be abruptly. So I'd like to say that there's currently just a little over 10 days left of the Kickstarter campaign for you to help support the deck. And the deck itself consists of 126 hand illustrated cards of many, and I can just name off the jargon, ginger, turmeric, cloves, holy basil, thyme. Like every single one of the herbs out there can help you in one way or another. You should be incorporating them in all the things you eat anyway, as long as you're able to stomach the concept of it all. Now you got garlic, cayenne pepper, beet, carrot, red cabbage, broccoli, pumpkin seed, avocado, coconut, papaya, soursop. That's so good for so many things. Noni. That's a stinky one, actually. Elderberry, good for you, for your immune system. Make sure you got something in backup. This thing is like great for you. Goji berries gives you the boost. Come on. Schisandra can help you with the dreams at night and also make things all flow. Dandelion, your backyard best friend. Come on. Watercress. And then I got all these seaweeds all here. Most of them tend to be from Japan. A lot of them you can get from like Irish sea moss and such like that. A lot of them have a lot of kelp and iodine. So they help your immune system, allow boost that for a number of things. There's mushrooms here. We got enoki lion's mane, maitake lion's mane can make you intelligent, have you a lot more memory. And the maitake is going to be your little dancing mushroom. You got to be able to come out here in the world and give yourself a number of things. But these things can help you in a number of ways. And this is volume 2 alone. So volume 1 is about allowing you to have plants that can be found in nature. Volume 2 is things that you can actually like use edibly, whether it's a tea, whether it's a food, whether it's a concept, like whether you're using coconut oil, avocado oil, or you're taking the avocado through the actual food itself. Obviously, the more true to the food you can get, the better. It's going to be life that way. So, and then volume 3 goes all into Edward Bach's flower essences. And if you don't know what that is, like I said, that is flower infusions that allow you to work with the water of your own body. So that water part of yourself, whether you want to call it emotional status or the field status or the method status in which you're permeating a resonance, that can help you in those conditions. But it allows you, the deck itself serves to provide you a positive outcome of the resonance rather than a solution for an issue you're experiencing. So this is something that you're inspired by to be. So with all that said, that brings the deck to 126 cards, and it's in 3 volumes. Currently, there's only going to be 100 decks printed. 10 are going to be in my personal collection just because I want to keep them probably for the rest of my life, just to know I did it. And then I don't always keep my stuff, and I got to do that. And then 90 are going to be available made in the Kickstarter, in which currently I believe like 75 sets need to be accounted for this deck to come to print. So if you want to bring this deck to print and you find this awesome and you've enjoyed the time, feel free to subscribe, feel free to check it out. You want to just tap out, you can just share it on Facebook. I'm not on any social media, so honestly it would help like so much, and like thank you so much if you can. But with that, I only have a limited time, so thank you. Be awesome, stay true. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, we'll try to do this again, and I appreciate your time. As I can be the best I can be, all I can say is for you to be the best version of yourself, and I appreciate for any and all support that can go towards that way. Stay true, always, because who else can you be, you know, once you know who you are? Go with the flow. I'm going to try to do this again, like I said, and hopefully once I do this video and capture it all, it's going to